Hello, welcome to the NBL. Now, this is what they're known for. They're 36ers. Adelaide 36ers is saying it's a popular basketball team. So we're going to focus on the early mid-season. Let's get on way. So, Aiden, okay, welcome back, and we're going to focus on the 36ers, the NBL early reviews and season, the halfway mark was known for FIBA, which between the Australian Boomers and New Zealand Breakers. We'll share that pretty soon because I want to share that, and I know the scores and how it all happens. But welcome to another episode, mate.
Thank you very much. It's actually been a really good first half of the year for the 36ers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think since Mike Wells has bring in some talent and we've got an ex-NBA player, we'll share that very soon. And, how since the 36ers are really have joined as one, this is the best state for basketball since 2016. This is how good they're being. It's since Joy Wright stayed. I'm not spell it actually, I meant it. But besides that, the 36ers have struggled and they have finally found the talent of the import former Perth Wildcat, Bryce Cotton. We got a talent, if I know his name. His last name's Cameron, Vin Cameron. The import improved the New Zealand. There's so many other players. I can't just think on top of my head of the list they have, but we're going to share right now, no, if you don't mind starting, but how did Adelaide started? Well, it all starts since Mike Wells. Yes, he's come on board, been the head coach. Besides what's been happening behind the scenes at the Adelaide 36ers and, the talent with, we got the skipper, then the three captains in a basketball team tells me that they really need help each other. That the magic shooting of, DV Vicky did got that correct. Won the captains against Melbourne United. I watched this game. Now it was not Melbourne United or Tigers. It's the Southeastern Melbourne Phoenix, a team we thought were going to. I think they didn't have a lot of effort to struggling, but we came and that person may not have a lot of minutes, but shot 5 3-pointers or something like from six. Made all the 3-pointers to win quite comfortable. But besides that, the team just, how can I relate that? I think it's moving quick to the ball, and Sydney and Perth are the teams to look out this season, and they are. They are. And we're respectful to the Phoenix. We beat them. Tasman Jack Chumbers finally got there. What else we had? The teams like, and we'll just share this some other time, but like teams against Cairns Taipans, they came to Adelaide and almost upset. And that happened over in Cairns. So we played them 3 times, 2 close. And when Jack Mabbay, the former 36er, come to Adelaide, he actually can play really well. Somehow we knew what to do. But we're coming into now this part of halfway through the season. And I think we're looking okay, but we've got to have challenges. And for the Nets, we take on Brisbane Bullets. The big challenge is Perth. Don't go to Perth and lose by 20. I think we know that Bryce Cotton's come back to old territory. There's going to be, a lot going on. And for a fella, he's gone through so much. He's very professional, them with Melbourne United. So I'll keep it from that part of, we're now at the end of the year, beginning of the end of the year, and how can Adelaide come to play? I think we'll be all right. But before Aiden shares his thoughts, and I'm looking forward to the 36ers mid-season review, but the Australian Boomers and the New Zealand Breakers, this is one of the best rivals because these two teams, like New Zealand Breakers, are part of the NBL, they come together and they take on each other like it's the best one of the rivals in basketball. And what an absolute plastic, they came to Tasmania on if I remember this correct, Friday, took on at St. Bank Arena in Tasmania, and took a nice win then in Wellington, in New Zealand, and took another win, 80-79, one of the best comebacks. So the team can believe can actually we got a pretty good coaching for the Australian Boomers, one from Melbourne, and I can tell you the assistant who he coaching for, but it doesn't matter. It's not really that important, but it will come to me. But enough is enough for my point. But Aiden, it's time to share your thoughts.
Yeah, thanks for that, Ben. That's, like, here's the thing about living in Adelaide is when you live in Adelaide and when you grow up in Adelaide, the 36ers and the Lightning as well, in the W as well, basketball isn't just something that happens outside of football in this state. The 36ers are up there with the Crows and the Power. That is basketball in South Australia. That is how much we live and die by the 36ers, especially after footy in Adelaide. Like, the cricket comes and goes, the Big Bash comes and goes, but everyone's talking about the 36ers over the summer. So, when it all came through that it was all confirmed, all official, we'd pulled off probably the biggest swap or steal, the biggest steal in the history of the NBL, and we pulled Bryce Cotton. People started taking notice again. Adelaide was alive again. Like they say, everything happens in the early part of the year in Adelaide, and it's true. Previously, Adelaide had in that February-March window, Clipsal, Fringe, Rome Adelaide, stuff like that. Now we've got early part of the year, we've got still the Fringe, still Rome Adelaide, Gather Round, Live Golf. That's our setup in the first half of the year. Back end of the year, we have sample finals at Adelaide Oval these days. We have the Supercars finals. That's, again, big news for South Australia. Signed off. We're going to be hosting the Supercars finals for the next 9 more years at the Adelaide Parkland Circuit. And, of course, the 36ers. It is bringing life back into this city that Bryce Cotton is in Adelaide colours. These things don't happen all the time. This is one of the biggest. This isn't even just NBL I'm talking now. This is on the level of LeBron taking his talents to South Beach. That's what we're talking about here. That is Bryce Cotton in the NBL. He's the LeBron of the NBL. He's a multi-time MVP. He's a multi-time finals winner. The dude gets the game, and he has come to the city of churches. So expectations were high coming into the season. Unfortunately, Montrezl Harrell got nabbed, so he's gone. That's okay. What do you do when you lose one big piece but you bring in another? You move on. Even better news, Bryce Cotton is now an Australian citizen. He no longer has an import tag. So we can go out and sign another person as an import. We do that just a couple of weeks ago. We'll get to that at the end, won't we, Ben? So this is one of those things that makes the city stand up when it needs to. Now, what do you do from a coaching perspective when you pull off a player like that? When you pull off a Bryce Cotton, when you pull off a LeBron James, you throw the system out the window. This is build the system around this guy, because this guy will take you places. He is the system now. Now, we had a very, very hot start to the year. We started 3-0, got checked by Sydney. Now, I saw that check against Sydney and I'm like, oh, bad night. Bad night was all it was. We continue. We have only had 2 more losses since, 8 wins to 2 losses in our last 10 after that. We're 11-3. We're second on the table. We have a very, very good list behind Bryce Cotton as well. I'm going to dive into one of the games here, and we're going to dive into the game against the Jack Jumpers, because that was a game that impressed me quite a lot. So we played the Jack Jumpers on the 13th of November, so about 3 weeks ago, and this was one of our last games before the fever bye, or the fever break, but we had a very, very good night. So we had 44% from the field in total field goal. We then had, my computer's not working anymore. Interesting. All right, I'll fix it now. Give me a second. We need to stop playing with me. Thank you. We had 38% from 3. We had 73% from the free throw. That number's a little bit damaging, but I know that our free throw numbers aren't as good as they could be just across the NBL in general. So a team shooting around the 70 to 80 mark in free throws is a good NBL number. Win the total rebounds by 7. Win the blocks. Win the steals. Lose the turnovers, but definitely limit the fouls. That's key. We're not playing dirty basketball. We're not playing cheap foul basketball. We are not giving away cheap shooting fouls, cheap fouls on the floor either. This is the stuff that makes a team. We're going to get into some of the player numbers as well now of this game. So have a look at the player numbers of this game. And this is why I wanted to highlight this game, is because Bryce Cotton had a down night for Bryce Cotton. Zylan Cheatham was the man running the show on this night. 13 rebounds, 27 points for him in 33 minutes, running the show, taking the pressure off Bryce. And this is the thing that I wanted to talk about, is the guys like Zylan Cheatham guys like Flynn Cameron, who are out there to take the pressure off of Bryce Cotton. That's what's going to help us win in the end. We now know that if teams are going to double Bryce, then they're going to do it. Sydney does it. I expect Melbourne to do it when we see him later on down the road. Same as Perth, that we have other options. Bryce only had 12 in this game. Cameron only had 11. Keenan, 8. 10 for Isaac Humphries. 11 for Nick Rakasevich. 14 for Dejan Vasilovic. And 4 for Isaac White. Our shooting was very good across the board. Everyone got in on the action. But this is a team now, and I'm going to jump back to the ladder in a minute. This is an Adelaide team that looked very good and well set up for the second half. And now I'm going to have a jump back to the ladder. Now we look at the ladder for this season. Adelaide are in second so far. We do have a game in hand on Melbourne, but we're also 2 wins behind them. So Melbourne have played 15, they're 13-2. We've played 14, we're 11-3. Then there is a bit of space between us and South East Melbourne. 2 games, they are 9-4 with a game in hand on us, playing 13. Perth in the top 4 as well at 8-6. Sydney in 5th at 7-6 through 13 games. Tasmania down in 6th with 15 played and only at 6-9. New Zealand at 15 played with 5-10 record. Brisbane Bullets 15 played, 5-10 record. Illawarra Wollongong are playing 13, 4-9 record, and the Cairns Taipans 15 played, 3 wins, 12 losses. So when Adelaide plays the bottom teams, the New Zealand, the Brisbanes, the Illagongs, as they like to call themselves these days, and Cairns, it's about winning those games for the rest of the season in the back end. And then also picking up wins against the big teams, against the top teams, against the Melbourne United, South East Melbourne, the Wildcats and the Kings. That's what's going to set us up really well. No injuries. Play like we have in the first half. We know we can rotate who takes the lead option if we need to. Bryce doesn't have to do everything. And it's a good thing we learned from it. The first 5 or 6 games, Bryce was doing everything. He put up a 50 spot in his sleep one night. Now he's got guys around him, especially Zylan Cheatham, who can support. And especially having a guard-center combo, that across basketball at any level, at any league, is dangerous because you have that inside-out ability where you can go, okay, they're defending us in the backcourt, we'll hit them in the front court. Or if they're keying in the front court, okay, Bryce is going to take over. So we're there now. The pressure for Adelaide is going to be holding in the back half and using what we've got to go win an NBL finals. Because I think this team's good enough to do that.
Yeah, so you're saying about, the star of the night. He did that one slam dunk against South Eastern Melbourne Phoenix, and I watched that game, and those passes, like you said, Bryce Cotton doesn't have to do everything. And when we take on Sydney, it doesn't matter if at Adelaide Entertainment or in Sydney, we do face, hopefully. I just want to take and fight down, I respect that we used to have a Davis in the team. No, not Anthony Davis.
Kendrick Davis.
Thank you.
I wish we had AD.
Well, a player that he went through, and he's now a professional enough for him in the individual. He's now moved on. We've moved on. We don't know what happened. I don't want to know about his personal issues. We'll go through that. And Bryce Cotton went through that, and everyone looked out for him, and he came professional on game day. So when you go through in your mind, yes, he's having more rest, Bryce Cotton, because he's getting looked after with his teammates, and that's what a good professional player. So Amber for Aiden came in, and we're going to share that new little news. But Trent Jones Jr., a player played 350 games. An important thing, it's also he can play that semi forward or small forward, which is say. He may not be over a great a shooter, but he can defend, and that's, I think, we now bring these imports, around the play for the 36ers. Former NBA player is known for, not in a big way, but not big minutes, but decent minutes. Play for the Lakers. I don't know other teams he's played for in his career, but you have a 350 gamer player in an NBA level to bring his talent, his experience, his up and down, his wins and losses, and how to recruit and how to learn from them. He's their man, and I'm so happy. Yes, we're welcome to have international players, but it's also good to have home talent, and we have that. We've got Isaac White.
I went to school with him.
Isaac White?
Yeah, I did. He was a year behind me at Sacred Heart.
Unbelievable. Pretty good shooter, actually. Yeah, no, I really like a player plays in South Australia, then go to Brisbane, and actually can play well in Adelaide, actually. So great talent. And we got, Isaac Humphries played for Melbourne United. I know I'm not a big fan of that name, but he played there for a couple of years, came back to Adelaide. He'd missed Adelaide, missed playing, and he used to play for Sydney Kings before he moved to Adelaide. So a player that he doesn't have to do everything now. And this is what I like. Yes, we've had, some great talent over the years. Like Josh Gilly is now playing for Chicago in the NBA. So a player like him going into NBA, that we're almost like one of the best teams in the NBL to recruit players to go into that high level. We've done our part, and it's amazing.
And I mean, it's not just Adelaide as well. Like the NBL Next Gen program is very strong. It's one of the real strong international programs. Like I look at the draft, there's always a couple of kids coming out of one of the NBL clubs in the first round of the NBA draft. Like Josh Giddey was a good example. Dyson Daniels this year, his brother Dash is going to come over. We've had guys from Brisbane go over. Brisbane's got some players in their stock. Rocco, there's players all across the league who are taking that next step through the NBL. Even LaMelo came out. LaMelo went pro at 16, went to Lithuania and played for a couple of years, came to the NBL, played for Wollongong, and then went to the NBA. So it's not just the local players who are doing it. People internationally. Did you know that apparently there was a rumor going around that with Bronny James, if he didn't get drafted by the Lakers, he was going to come to the NBL?
Yeah, no.
So it's not just our local kids that are coming here. There are big name, like kids of big name parents and big name basketball family coming over to the NBL to get in the NBL Next Gen program.
Yeah, absolutely. And, the American South Australians, especially in this, every time Australia versus the USA, all our players have played in the NBA, actually lived in Australia, and we got a very good team. We know, yes, Masha Delvadova's now no longer playing the NBA, but he's now at Sydney now, and, it's good because he's not, I think he's from Melbourne, but he's playing in Sydney, the Harbour, and it's not saying like he's used to, but it's good to go to a different city. So it's common, like in basketball way wording it, and go to a different city, and it be in a different team and a different coach. And I think he's got a good. I respect Matthew Delvedova playing for Sydney because I was shocked he was going to play for Sydney.
Yeah, I thought he was retiring.
Yeah,
I thought he was retiring, and he's been to a couple of the Melbourne clubs. I think he's been to Tasmania, he's been to Sydney. So he's been all over the place since he's come back from the NBA, which is great because everyone gets to see it.
Absolutely, but overall, with his NBL next generation, as they've been calling it, and we don't hear these names, but when we hear about Josh Daniel, brothers playing for Melbourne United, what's his name?
So we got Dash Daniels is at Melbourne. He's the younger brother of the Great Barrier Thief, Dyson Daniels, who's at Atlanta in the NBA.
Yes, that's it. And he looks like his brother.
He looks like his brother. Honestly, I asked my mate, and he's like, "Why is Dyson Daniels getting drafted again?" And I'm like, "No, that's Dash. That's his brother."
Yes, it's almost like it's twin, but it's not. It wants to, he's a pretty good defender. And I think I'm hoping, and he played. I don't think he played a lot of minutes in the NBA in the Australian Boomers game, but I think he can play that level. If he can like loads of ball, and I plays actually play for New Zealand Breakers. His mother play. The Ball family. He played for one of them played for the Lions, was Lakers not anymore, but he was a player that he can play. There was a mother Ball with well played for Eel Hawk.
There's a lot. Well, see, that was LaMelo because he came out as part of the Next Gen program.
Yeah,
and
he dominated in the NBL like the next generation, and and Tyson Flowers.
Tyson Flowers is another one.
He's no longer part of, and I think he was injured actually at the time. But a player that every time he goes on screen, the fans absolutely love him. And guess what? That's a good thing because that's what I don't get. Every time we watch the Adelaide 36ers, the fans know when they're on screen. When anytime, you go and watch another NBL game, it's not the same. So I get different states, different teams, different how they're set up with their media. But I think we don't hear, it's different how they word it. But overall, like, I know this is about the 36ers mid-season, but we also talk about the NBL reviews and stuff. But look, I was speaking offline, and I like to share a little bit about like Cairns High Pants for really a massive example. A team that got talent, but they can't win. So I think they got some talents to go into the NBA, and absolute they do. But that's how they came to Adelaide, and they actually dominated. They really dominated. I give them so much credit. They should won that. That really like a oh, what's his name? Galloway, big import for 10 times and played for Adelaide actually in his first couple of years. And then Jack McVeigh as well, played for Adelaide, played for the other team, Tasmania, won a championship, and now playing for Cairns. And Cairns, without Jack McVeigh, Cairns will get smashed. Bryce Cotton will shoot 50 points. When Jack McVeigh plays, Bryce Cotton won't shoot 50 points, but he can shoot 40. It's really interesting. And he loves playing in Cairns. That's the big thing about Bryce Cotton, and that's when he was in by himself, all about me being the best shooter. But he knows he doesn't have, yes, he can be the greatest, but you can be the greatest with other players. You can have the weakest team and still win. And that's what Cairns did. They found a way to almost win. And that Jack McVeigh absolutely dominated. So yeah, with New Zealand as well, like they've got some great talent, but it's not complete. They're getting there. I thought they were really good at the beginning, the first couple of games, but unfortunately, that Wednesday night basketball, look, I'm not a big fan of, but they're dominating. How I know if they're not dominating there, but in the NBL 26 season, they're like third to last. So, bring that talent like you're playing in the NBL, but they want money, and I think it's not about the money, it's about the championship. The championship comes first, the money comes second.
Well, I mean, I think these days as well, we live in an era where sports are becoming very much about this idea of ring culture and championships equal outright theft. And this is again, I talk about this like with someone like Russell Westbrook, who has averaged 4 triple-double seasons. Okay, sure, he was on a horrible team and he was doing all the work by himself, but those are accomplishments that need to be recognized because doing that, you are saying that the man is averaging at least a triple-double for a whole season, 82 games, 4 seasons. But no, because Ross hasn't won a championship, nothing matters. Same with Melo. Melo was an elite scorer in the NBA, but Melo never won an NBA title. So he goes down the list. There are guys. I can add a few more to that list as well. Vince Carter and Allen Iverson. Again, guys who were elite scorers, elite players, never got over the line, go down the list because they never won a title. And this isn't, okay, this isn't the NBA. This is the NBL. This is where a lot of young players come and develop their skills. But players, if you're in the NBL to chase a championship, I can tell you you're in the wrong league. If you're in the NBL because you love basketball and you want to just show your skills and see if you can get into the NBA or get back to the NBA or get back to wherever you want to go, or even if you want to stay here like Bryce did, that's why you need to come here because that's what the NBL offers you. We don't care about who come March. We don't care who wins the championship. We care that you come back and show out again for us next year.
So yeah, unbelievable report. But all right, it's time to wrap up another episode of the BJ Show with the 36ers. And we spoke that early in the show, basically beginning, and then we spoke about important teams. And we did, Aiden did share about the NBL, the ladder and how, but all the best for all 10 teams. And yeah, all right, thanks for listening. We'll see you soon. Peace.